Hello everybody and welcome to this new little setup that we've got going on. I don't want anyone to panic. Liam is not replacing anyone. So essentially what we're doing now is what I'm going to call like a shit Diary of a CEO kind of vibe. And Liam, as my alter ego, obviously my lifelong partner, he is basically the person that I turn to in terms of everything to do with business. He is a diehard Alex Hormozy fan. I think he at this point has Alex Hormozy's voice ingrained in his brain when he goes to sleep at night. So a lot of the kind of bits and bats that I've done in terms of work and business in the last kind of few months have been heavily influenced by Liam, hence why he's here. So like I said, it's not replacing anything, it's simply an extension of the kind of podcast vibe, and we're going to call it like TMF Insider. So it's basically an insight into what being a coach is, especially kind of considering we're both in the field, but from two completely different angles. The kind of behind the scenes of what I do, how I've kind of built the business to be what it is, because I think that it's very interesting and something that a lot of people maybe don't talk about in terms of what's good about having a job online, putting yourself out there, etc, etc. So obviously something that I do want to talk about more. So we put together a few questions that people wanted to know to kind of, like I say, open the discussion of the behind the scenes or the insider of TMF and what it is.
Yeah, so just for context, these are all questions from your Q&A from Instagram.
Yeah.
And kind of questions that people want to ask, mainly about business and just life in general. So we'll go through them one by one.
Yeah,
and then
sounds
we'll kind of
good.
lead from there. So the first one is, what do you think the biggest things are that hold you back?
I think Liam could fucking answer this one. I have like the biggest sense of like kind of fear of failure, and like I do not kind of give myself enough validation for my knowledge or for kind of the fact that I am good enough essentially to succeed or be successful. I do kind of second guess myself a lot, and I think that just comes with time. I definitely think I've got better with it over, again, like the last few months. I think having somebody in your corner, obviously reassuring you, you know, you are doing a good job, I think that does make a massive difference. But obviously when you're first starting out, you don't have a clue what you're doing is right. You don't know what decisions are right for you and for your career and for your future. And I think especially when you're a young person going off the back of college, having absolutely no idea what I wanted to do kind of put me in a lot of limbo situations where I was like, I am panicking that what if I have made the wrong decision? What if I am not cut out to be a PT or to be a coach or to make this successful for a long period of time? Obviously I understand fitness is everything at the minute. Everybody wants to be into fitness, everybody wants to be a coach, everybody wants to be in this industry, and I thought, you know, maybe I won't make that kind of final cut, but I definitely think, like I say, the reassurance of kind of falling on my arse a fair few times, and being able to pick myself back up has definitely given me the confidence. But no, definitely to answer that, like, just fear of failure, like second guessing myself 1,000,000%. Like you always say, like, I'm my own worst enemy. I'm always like, 100%. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? I could literally be doing 27 hours of work a fucking day, and I'd still be like, it's not enough.
Yeah, Tasha can't relax unless it's allocated relaxation
Literally, I'm like,
time.
right, okay, so between the hours of 7 and 9, a relaxation time. Anything other than that is work, fucking graft, going for it.
Yeah, if you're just sat around the house, you have to either do something or leave the house immediately. So you've got this amazing house that you've kind of made your own, and then anytime you have any spare minutes, any spare time, you're like,
spare time,
I need to leave.
I'm literally like, right, Costco, Tesco.
I need to be active right now.
Home Baggins, B&M Baggins, anything. I love being outside buying stuff for the house that I don't like sitting in because I can't chill.
So just to come back to that, you think second guessing yourself, you think you have some kind of like imposter syndrome or anything like that, which is actually quite common among a lot of people, especially in the fitness industry, where they achieve a relative amount of success, whether that's within their own fitness goals or in business, and then they can't adjust to the successful person they've become. They're more like still thinking. So you're still thinking about the Tasha that was back in college, who didn't know what she wanted to do and didn't really have any direction, and now you've built a successful business and you are in your own right successful. Do you feel like that you've kind of not reflected enough in the last 3 years the business that you've built?
No, do you know what? It's funny that you say the word reflect, because I definitely think that I did a post about this yesterday, actually. I've constantly worked towards the end goal and like the higher image of like who I think is the Tasha that is successful. And it's actually ironic, because if I look back to like when I was 18, 19, the Tasha I am now is probably the Tasha that back then I deemed as successful. But as you grow into it, you constantly expect more and more and more and more of yourself. So I feel like it's almost a trick on my head that I have convinced myself that I'm no longer successful because there is more success to be had. As you grow into the fitness industry, or into any industry, I suppose, if you go from, you know, nothing to something, that something then becomes, you know, a middle ground for the next higher up and the next higher up. And, you know, there's never kind of a cap on what success is. Success is different for so many different people. And I definitely have measured my success in the past on how busy I am, or how many PTs I have, or how many clients I have, or how much work I'm doing. And I think that definitely created the most imposter syndrome for me, was that I deemed my success into how much work I was doing. And that essentially created what I was, a busy fool. Like, I was literally just a busy fool. I was running around like a fucking headless chicken, doing every single hour of work, in God's name, whatever, but actually not really getting anywhere in terms of fulfillment or happiness.
Yeah, your diary from this time last year was a lot different.
Yeah,
I
actually sent him a screenshot of my diary from last year, and although I'm literally making more than I was exactly this time last year, I was doing 20 hours more work last year. But just from the way that I've managed to utilise my time and utilise my business to make it work better for me, I can then do things like this a lot more, and do the things that help to grow the business, so that then the business can become outside of me. Obviously, like, we've got staff in now, more things that obviously we're doing, like client events, the more online realm, because obviously not a lot of people start out as an online coach. A lot of people do start off face to face, and it's hard to make that cut between like, no, I need to be harsh with my time. I need to value my time more, because in essence, that's what people pay for when you're a PT. They pay for your time. They pay for that hour. And, you know, when you become a coach, an established coach, that time then becomes more valuable. Your time outside of them sessions become more valuable, because you're doing a lot more behind the scenes. Like, I mean, planning for client events. Like, we've got a client shoot in 8 weeks' time. The amount of organisation and preparation work that has to go into that, I couldn't do that on 55 sessions a week, 60 sessions a week, which is what I was doing this time last year. So although I've not cut any money, I've cut time, which has then enabled me to grow into myself and grow into my business. Which was a really long-winded answer. I feel like that was really not necessary for that question. But like I say, it's good insight. It's good insight to see, like I say, if you're a current PT at the moment, striving for 60 sessions a week, I can guarantee you now, you probably will get there and be like,
you get to that point, and then 3 months in, you think this is a lot.
Yeah. And obviously I know you've been there with PT and stuff in the past where...
Never to that level, but I think for you especially, you have a crazy work ethic where you will do 12 sessions back to back a day after day, and you will think nothing of it.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I feel guilty because I'm tired and I can't be bothered. And he's like, most people can't be bothered 99.99% of the time. Like, it's okay to say that you can't be bothered on one day. And I'm like, no, it's not. I need to be prepped always. Yeah, I think that kind of leads back to what I said before. Like, I'm just so harsh on myself. And I think, again, like you say, that's a general characteristic trait with a lot of people in the fitness industry. You're just an anomaly because you are just... He's built different in his head. He is built different. He just literally will get on with anything, no matter what. Like, he doesn't have a single, like, negative thought about anything. He's so positive, so, like, optimistic. And, again, I just think, like I say, that is what's made the difference for me. And I think don't let it take another person to come into your life to show you to be optimistic. Like, you should be optimistic about more things and be kinder to yourself, and, like you say, reflect on the things that you have done and where I've come from and what I've managed to do in this time frame. But yeah, you definitely helped me a lot with that, 1,000,000%.
Super good. Right, so next one, what's your favourite thing about being a coach? If you had to pick one thing, what would it be?
Obviously there's loads of aspects of coaching that are really fulfilling, but in essence, just overall fulfillment. It's a fulfilling job. Like, I'm sure being a nurse, being a doctor, being a teacher, you know, where you're giving care to others. Like, I am, well, single-handedly, this is making me cringe saying it, I am single-handedly making other people's lives better. Like, I said it, but it's true. And I think, again, I don't give myself enough credit for that I am giving people expertise to be able to make their life better and more positive. Like, for me, I've never been somebody who wants to churn, you know, whatever you call it, like, sort of like thread the needle, like just thread business through and through and through and through. Yeah, to keep turning over clients. And, you know, I've had a lot of the clients that I have now for years, and obviously to see people that I have trained, from some clients I've trained since they were teenagers, young girls, to like young adults now, like going into their 20s, progressing in their career, progressing into uni, progressing from college, even obviously my clients who are in their 20s getting job promotions, you know, getting new relationships, like just going through the changes of life, like with the people that I'm working with, and knowing that I had a positive influence in their life is so fulfilling. And like, when I used to be like really, really sensitive and really new in this job, and I used to cry all the time, a lot of the time I'd cry every single check-in, because I just quite literally couldn't believe that people was picking me as a coach and like giving me such kind feedback that like I was helping them. I just couldn't believe it. Obviously you kind of appreciate that that's what you do a little bit more now, and like I say, I'm kind of more confident in the fact that I know I'm changing people's lives. But at the start, like I say, I literally couldn't even believe that I was changing people's lives. Like, it would make me so emotional that I would just cry every day. I'd be like, oh my God, how do I do this job?
Yeah, and the one thing that you do well is you challenge and you push your clients to progress. So you won't have clients who are just plodding along month after month with no results. If they're not moving towards their goals, you're kind of addressing that. And I think that's why you have success with a lot of your clients, is the fact that week in, week out, you're managing them in terms of, are they moving towards the goals? What's in place? Is there anything missing? Do they have any struggles? Whereas a lot of coaches, especially when I used to PT, would just PT every week in, week out. They'd see the same client month in, month out, and they would never change.
I was just going to say that, like, I think in essence, people probably think sometimes retention is the best thing for your PT business, and it most definitely is. Obviously, again, I've got clients I've trained for 3-4 years that are still progressing, which is brilliant. They value me and my expertise, and they can afford it. So they will keep coming for 4 years, and that is amazing. However, if you have got clients that are coming in and in 6 months' time, a year's time, are making no progress, I almost would rather say to them, you know, this isn't working. Maybe come back to me when you're a little bit more ready, or when you're, you know, a little bit more kind of in a position to want to change. Because again, as much as you can give expertise to clients, you can't give them the desire to want to change. Again, the same thing with me. I'm a client like everybody else. If I don't want something, I won't do it. But if I want something, I will literally do anything to get there. And that's sometimes the harsh reality that you've got to have with clients. But again, the ones that want to change will keep progressing week on week, and they will listen to me every week with, I think you should do this, or I think you should do this. And again, pushing them with the events that we kind of do. Like, you know, the High Rocks Sims, or the High Rocks comps, or the CrossFit comps, fitness comps, shoots, things like that. Like, you know, things that give people that extra push to want to do better, and not kind of just sitting on being okay, because that doesn't sit right with me personally as a coach. If my clients are just okay with being okay, I'm like, no, what do you want next? What is further? And I think as long as, like we kind of said before, you're reflecting on the progress that you've made, keeping pushing forward for that next thing is what's going to help you strive forward and, as again, become a better person. Because as much as I do get caught up in constantly trying to progress, it's good in that sense. Like, stagnancy and complacency are probably one of like the biggest killers of like your dreams, 1,000,000%.
If you have a client who's been with you or comes to you and in 6 months' time they're not a client anymore, but they've achieved the goals, then that isn't an issue at all.
Oh, of course, yeah. Like 1,000,000%. I'll turn around to clients and say, like, after 3-6 months, like, do you know what? You wanted to lose 2 stone, you've lost 2 stone. Like, job done. Like, do you want anything else? And they're like, like I'm pretty happy. Like,
Yeah.
there's not really anything else I want. Right, okay, I'll stop you there. If there's not anything else that you want, then what are we doing? Like, come back to me when there's something else that you want to do. Because again, there's no point trying to push that desire for somebody if they don't want it, because then in 6 months' time, that might then flip the switch, and then they might then turn around and say, actually, the last 6 months have been a waste, and I feel like I've wasted 6 months of coaching for what? Again, you've got to kind of pick your battles in that sense. There's some clients that you can keep for 4 years and keep progressing, and there's some clients that you have to kind of let go after 3 months. And you know what? They'll be the clients that always come back to you when they've got a holiday, when they've got something that they want to prep for, they've got a wedding, they've got, postpartum, etc., etc. They will always be the ones that come back to you because they trust you enough to get them where they want to be, and then they move on. And they're able to implement that into their life.
Yeah, I think a lot of coaches are guilty of thinking, I don't want to lose clients. From a business standpoint, it's understandable, but if your client's happy and they've got all the results they want, then you coaching them for another 3, 6, 9, 12 months isn't really going to benefit anyone.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, you want your clients to come in, get the results they want, and then that could be a client you might refer 2 or 3 more people to, because they're happy with what they've got. You've provided what you said you're going to provide. They've got the results, and ultimately they're happy. Yeah,
in essence, I got a lot of stick when I first started off. The lads that kind of worked around me, because a lot of them have been in the industry for a long, long, long time, and they kind of suggested that, the work that I was doing was higher turnover because it's, younger clientele, young girls, in essence, people that want that holiday prep and then move on. Sorry, am I slamming this? Sorry, bless. Oh, he always looks out for me. That creates that higher turnover. But in essence, like, there's nothing wrong with a client coming in, leaving. Like, in essence, in some scenarios, you want that client to leave because, like you said, they're gonna then refer people on because they've done it. You've done a sick job. They've done a sick job.
Yeah.
And this is what I've done in the last 3, 6 months, 12 months, and you can do that too. And that's definitely a bitter pill to swallow, because when you have your kind of first batch of client exits, client leaves, client turnover, where people leave, and it's not a bad thing. And I think that people see it as this really like bad, kind of demeanor, like a client's left, but that is okay, because that means that if they're leaving happy, then you've done your job. You've took them up to this point. You've took them from A to B, but you might not necessarily be the person that's going to take them from B to C. But I think that that's definitely the change that's made me a lot more confident in what I'm doing, because I know that everyone that's working with me is with me for a reason. They're with me because they need that guidance or want that support. And I don't feel like I'm like pulling teeth with certain people, and I feel very content in the job, because I do think that obviously when you first start, you are trained to kind of take on a lot of work.
Yeah, you'll PT anyone.
Mate, do you know what I mean? The electricity bill's coming in, it's 200 quid from me on, do you know what I mean, with this person, running up that lecky bill, watching YouTube all day. But anyway, if you've got that lecky bill coming in and a client offers you 200 quid, they might not necessarily be the client that you want to train, and they're probably going to take the piss a bit. You'll take it. Whereas when you have a lot more confidence in your ability, you can then have that power to be like, do you know what, actually, I don't think I'm the coach for you. But this person might be, and you have a lot more faith in yourself and the work that you're doing, and you don't want to put bad blood into your business, because again, the more good results that you get, the more good reputation that you get, the more good report off people, referrals, etc., that is better for you and your business. You'd much rather have a client come in and out in 3 months and made really sick progress and refer on 5 people than someone come in and out in 3 months, get fucking nowhere, and refer absolutely nobody and probably say that you were shit, even though you weren't, and you did everything.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so next one is the struggles of being a coach and managing 10 different things at once. So online, groups, in-person, stuff you plan in future. How do you manage it?
Do you know what? It's actually so funny, because Matt actually said something to me. Matt is one of my friends at work. He's been like one of my closest friends for years, so he knows me like the back of his hand. He actually said to me, you are the most unorganised person I have ever met.
I would agree, definitely.
My work is like bulletproof, isn't it? Like, it's so funny actually to get this perspective, because he knows obviously what I do on a day-to-day basis.
But every time you leave the house, you don't know where anything is. Don't know where your car keys are, don't know where your shoes are, where's my bag.
Literally, it'll be like 10 minutes before I need to get to work. I only live like 5 minutes down the road, but still. I'd be like, where's my keys? Where's my bag? Where's my laptop? Where's my iPad? Oh my God, my iPad's dead. My phone's dead. My headphones are dead.
Can you bring the charger?
I
forgot it.
Literally, I've lost my house key. Why is my house key off my car keys? Where's my car keys? Why is my car parked down the road? Why is your car behind mine? Where are my shoes that I want to wear? Where are my lifters? Where's everything? And I'm like, literally, when I get to work, my whole day is scheduled out, and I feel like that kind of answers the question. Time management is the best thing for you, your life, your business, anything. Like, my work day is scheduled out to a T. I have color coded everything. Like, sessions are purple, admin is green, like my training's blue, like kind of meetings are dark purple, like everything is dead color coded, like to the hour of what I'm going to do, when I'm going to eat, like literally when I'm going to breathe, when I'm going to drink, everything, when I'm at work. Then it's like I get home and everything's just, it's like I let my brain just like explode onto the house. This is why our house is just filled with random just stuff. It's just our stuff.
Filled. There's a lot of random stuff going on.
There's a lot of random stuff going on. It's like work bag on the floor, Ironman bag next to it, another Ironman bag, another Ironman bag, another Ironman bag, built for athletes, another Ironman bag, lifters, Metcons, rads. Not a paid ad. But do you know what I mean? It's just time management is the biggest thing ever. I've actually just started doing kind of like a bit more education around content creating and stuff, and the video that I just watched on the way here actually was saying about scheduling in set amount of hours per week for content. And again, that was something that I definitely neglected because I was busy. I was a busy fool, and I was just happy with what I was doing, but I didn't understand that kind of growth in a business and being busier, they're two completely different things. Being busy and being better are different. Like, to be able to pull back has then allowed me to implement, again, the time to getting videographers, making podcasts, making content, actually posting the content that clients relate to and clients will see, has then allowed me to relaunch online completely. Like, I have relaunched online as a completely different thing than it was last year, 2 years ago. And it's exploded because it's completely centered differently. The way that I market it is completely different. The way that it comes across is completely different because I have the time to sit down and oversee every element of my business because I have allocated enough time. I'm really structured with what kind of things I need to post more of and, what things I want to say. Obviously, a lot of it comes down to creativity. You've got to be creative as a coach. Yeah. And again, putting across content and things that people want and things that people want to do, knowing your clientele, knowing your niche and who you're specifically trying to target. Again, I wouldn't just say to my girls, right, okay, girls, we're going to go and hike Snowdon tomorrow, because they'd all be like, well, you are, I'm not. But what I will do is, okay, girls, we're going to go to the track, do a track session. We're going to do a high rock sim session. We're going to do a photo shoot. Knowing my clientele and the people that I'm reaching out to and knowing what they enjoy and being able to plan for that. Again, just so that I know what's in the works, what's the next thing, what will my clientele like, and again, being able to manage my diary to be able to plan the things that they need, know where my clients are struggling, and essentially put things in place to be able to help them. So I think a lot of it just comes from being very aware of what's going on in terms of your clients and responding in accordance to that. Like I say, allocating time for the things that need to be done, like admin, like online work, like PTs, like group PTs, like checking in on your clients, like having crisis calls with your clients, like being able to speak to them on the phone, like being able to have an in-person catch-up with somebody that you might not have seen in a while, like being able to check in on somebody when you know they're going through a shit time. And again, putting things in place to be able to market your business properly.
Yeah,
just comes down to organisation. A lot of it's organisation, and again, knowing your business, knowing who you're working with, and being able to allocate your time according to the things that need to be done. Like you, for example, like your time is divided completely different to the way that mine's divided, because again, your clients, they don't have as many crises. They're very successful people that Liam works with. It's a completely different realm of work. He might just ring his client and be like, how are your sessions getting on? they will probably reply, yeah, really good, because a lot of Liam's clients are like adherent to the T. And that'll be it. Like a lot of Liam's time comes down to his intensive programming and all that kind of behind the scenes work, keeping on top of that side of things. So his priorities with his clients are going to be very different to how I prioritize things for my clients, because again, we know our clients, we know what needs to be done. Do we work any differently or any less than the other? No, it's just divvied very differently.
Yeah, it comes down to how you invest your time ultimately, because you could make an extra, I don't know, £1,000 a month by doing X amount more sessions, but are you ever going to surpass that amount if you just keep doing that? Because especially in this industry, when you're a one-man band, you're essentially
which is kind of like that question saying,
you're in marketing, you do sales, you do everything. If you're constantly at the front end in fulfillment, doing sessions, doing this, doing that, you're never at the back end doing the marketing, doing the planning, doing the stuff like this, where it might not pay dividends now, but in 6 months' time, someone might see a piece of content that you've created, and that might resonate with them, and then you might get a client from that. So I feel like the more you can do at the back end while the front end's still going, and not focusing too much on that, longer term, it will be a better investment than doing more kind of front end. Because I think for any coach, the goal is to build up to a point where you've got a sustainable business, you're earning good money, you're helping people, you're good at your job, but then it gets to a point where you can only do so many sessions, as you found out this time last year.
Yeah, this is exactly why he's here, because listen to the way that he words that. So much better than me. But yeah, pick into what he said then. If you're constantly at the front end, you are never in the back end. That sounds a bit weird, but it's so true, because if you're constantly on the forefront, coaching, delivering sessions, programming, you don't actually see the bigger picture of like, where is my business not doing very well? What is going on? Oh, I'm going to go back to Matt, and he's going to absolutely love this, because he loves when I give him credit for advice that he gives me. He said to me ages ago, when I was having a bit of a shit time in the business, he was saying that essentially, because I'm so close up in what we call like the front end, is I didn't see what was going on the outside picture, and I was too focused on the forefront of what was going on, that I just didn't see any gaps, any cracks, anything that was going wrong in the business. So I definitely think it's good to, if you don't have, any kind of mentor or coach yourself, take a week to go somewhere that is not within your business and pick it the fuck apart. Literally be like, what is going well? What can I zone in on? What needs fixing? And where do I need more time in? Because, there was a stage in April where I took a massive hit in everything. And again, I like picked apart the whole business, and at the time, that was a massive loss, financially, personally, business wise, everything. But again, it allowed me to go back and look at things from a back perspective, and implement them new things that actually have then made the whole thing elevated, and essentially made the business accelerated 3 times from what it was before April. Which I would have never thought would have happened if I hadn't. Obviously, he helps me, like I say, actually take a step back again. But like, that is the first thing, take a step back. Where needs more time? Balance is never equal. You're always going to have pieces of the pie that need more work and need more effort. Again, same with life, same with everything. But if we're talking in a business perspective, if you're doing a launch, marketing is going to be high. Yeah, that piece of your pie, that marketing piece, is going to be high. And again, I always just had the forefront as the whole pie. There was never any other bits, never any kind of, like I say, recruitment, never any kind of marketing, never any kind of extra kind of leeway work. And now, essentially, the business operates much better because I'm almost less in it. I'm further back, I'm more back end, because I'm still getting my expertise through the business, but not as in the forefront, not doing 50, 60 sessions a week, doing a more manageable amount, 35, 40 sometimes, which still seems like a lot, but it gives me 20 hours essentially of time to work on the other stuff.
Okay, perfect. So that brings on to our next question nicely. Something that you've been doing a lot better with recently, which is, how do you find time for yourself?
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I think changing your priorities, and I think coming away from the pressure that I had on work and working so much allowed me to understand the beauty of reset. People say like R&R, like whatever, it's really important. And it sounds really like cliche when people say stuff like that, but the reality is, when you are at your best version, you can be more productive. And I think understanding that difference between working myself to the ground and then burning out and being in a mess like I was a few months ago, and actually just catching that before it happens, you actually end up being more successful.
Yeah.
Because I've got more time to think. My thoughts are clear. I was saying the other day about how my brain feels like it's on fire. Like, I'm so creative. I'm so, like, just literally just bashing ideas out every single day. Like, every single day I'll be like, oh my God, Liam, I've thought of this idea. And he's like, that's just really good, blah, blah, blah. Before that, I never did that.
Yeah.
I never thought of new things because all I knew was 60 sessions a week.
Yeah, you should have the mental capacity.
60 sessions a week, check-ins all weekend.
Yeah.
And go again. 60 sessions a week, check-ins all week, and go again. Like, literally, that was my life. Whereas now it might be Monday, few PTs, few groups, check-ins, few meetings, few little bits and bats, make some content, train, go home, feel really good, ready for the next day.
Twice.
I'm training twice, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Being able to prioritise, like, things that I actually want to do, knowing what I want to do. What do you want to do with your life? Because if it's work 24 million hours a week, then fine. But I realised that quite clearly that wasn't what I wanted to do because I was really unhappy. And the second that, again, I was forced to take that step back and look at things, I'm like, I can't carry on going like this. Like, I need to do something, and that something was chill.
Yeah, it's different for everyone. I think everyone has different capacity for it, but it's almost like you have to be selfish to a point. You're a very selfless person, so it's probably difficult for you, which probably in the past is why you've struggled.
Yeah.
Is that you don't want to just say to your clients, right, I'm going away for the weekend. Like, I'm not doing any sessions. I'm not doing Saturday send. Taking some time for myself, where you'd always put your clients first. You'd always put people first before you.
Yeah, and I think people might not see that in the moment, the amount of kind of yourself you put on the line in terms of like how much emotional investment comes into a coaching business. Because I feel what my clients feel like personally. And again, business is always black and white. I've always said that business is black and white, and I see it as a very black and white thing, but the people within the business, them to me mean a lot, and I'd be bad at my job if they didn't mean a lot. But I am at a place now where I have to understand that my clients need to respect me as much as I respect them and care for them, and a lot of them do. Genuinely, I am so lucky to the sense that my clients will turn around and be like, have a lovely weekend, you deserve it. And that is definitely a place where you want to be, when your clients see the work that you're putting in, they see the effort and they see the passion. Because if I was a client and I didn't see passion from my coach, obviously I'd be like, you don't fucking do fuck all, you know.
Yeah. And that comes back to when you're doing 60, 65 sessions a week, that gets diluted. So your 11th session in a day isn't going to get the same standard as the first, second, third.
Yeah.
And that's going to drop off a cliff. And that's when probably you've had it in the past where people have dropped off, not because you're doing anything wrong, just because they might have the same session every week, and by the time it comes to it, you're just knackered because you've not had a break all day.
Yeah, obviously, like, when you do have levels of fatigue and mood, and I'm not embarrassed to say it, there's definitely been sessions where I've been shit and times where I've been shit, and I will openly say that. There's been months where I've been shit, weeks where I've been shit, times when I've gone through stuff in my personal life where, because I've not had the time to process that, and it's just been a case of I've had a really, really shit weekend, but Monday comes, right, here I am. And there's the phrase of obviously leave it at the door, but when you can't do that and you don't have that emotional kind of strength to be able to brush off how you're feeling, which that's hard. Obviously, again, we're human beings, like, that is hard to do. And especially the type of person I am, people know it straight away, whether I'm in a good mood, a bad mood, a shit mood, an angry mood, a happy mood. You just see it on my face. And even though I'm not necessarily bad in that hour, or being miserable or being whatever, they can tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
They can tell 1,000,000%. And it's heartbreaking when you know that, but there's nothing that you can do about that. But do you know what? Again, having the time to think and deal with my stress and deal with things that go on in life means that the times where I am in work, I can leave things at the door, because it's not, I'm constantly at work. There's no room for things to be left at the door, because there's no time that I'm not at the door, you know?
So I think it comes down to, the way I see it, is you cultivate your own environment. I feel like the more negative your environment, the more time you're going to need for yourself away from that environment. So if you're doing 40 sessions a week and 30 of those sessions you hate because the people in them are just negative and they're bringing you down, and you don't enjoy doing the sessions, they don't enjoy doing the sessions, you're going to finish that week feeling exhausted emotionally, physically, mentally. But like you have a business where genuinely everyone smashes it, everyone gives 100%, they're really good energy, they're really positive. At the weekend you don't feel like, wow, I need time away. You're looking forward to Monday already because you're excited to do those sessions.
And again, that might not even come down to who the person is, but again, you're doing 60 sessions, there's going to be at least 5 in there where you just can't physically bring yourself to be in a good mood. And again, that creates friction for the client and doesn't create a positive experience for the client. So learning to be able to say no, like, do you know what, I don't train clients past 7:30 p.m. for your benefit, because when it comes to 7:30 p.m, I don't want to train you because I am tired, and that is okay to admit. I'm a human being. I will be tired, therefore your session will be subpar, therefore it's not going to be beneficial. And they're then going to go on and say, oh, I trained with Tasha, Tasha was my coach and she's a miserable fucker. But that's not the case. But it's very important to kind of nitpick how you're coming across and who you're kind of dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And again, like, if you've got people that you're kind of coaching that are causing you issues, not because of anything wrong with them, but you're not the coach for them, it's more beneficial for both of you to turn around and say, you know what, I don't think this partnership is for you. And that's okay. Like, I think people see, like I said, again, losing clients is like this big failure. It's not. You know you're good at your job, but you know what? You'll beat yourself to the pulp of feeling like you're really shit at your job if you carry on fulfilling work that isn't fulfilling you back. Like, if you are fulfilling clients and work and day-to-day routine that isn't fulfilling you and isn't pouring back into your cup because you don't enjoy the day, you don't enjoy what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, like, you are literally going to get nowhere. And again, that's why, you know, maybe I could make an extra $2,000 if I wanted to, but at the cost of what? Miserable. My reputation, to be miserable, for people to talk shit on me, because probably I would be a miserable fucker.
And you get emotional when you get tired.
Oh yeah, and I get snappy, like I do. I get aggy, and again, I'm human. That's okay. I'm a really positive person, but I'm tired. Like, I'm fed up. I can't be bothered. Like, I'm just like. Oh. And as much as, again, it's nothing to do with like Liam or the people around me, I will snap at Liam if I'm pissed off. Of course I will.
Yeah.
Because I'm a person. So before it gets to that point, save yourself.
Save yourself. Right, next one. So I think this is for more either people within the fitness industry as a coach or a PT, or people getting into it, kind of just going to the gym and getting into it. But advice for younger people getting into the gym, whether that's as a coach or a PT, or it's as just a member of the gym looking to get fitter and stronger. What do you think?
Right. This has two kind of different angles. I think, luckily, with the type of people we are, we've said this before, we've had conversations, I think this is why we work really well as like a couple, but we come from very similar like ethos in terms of like the way that we were brought up and the way that we've kind of gone into the fitness industry. It's quite similar. We were both very young and both quite lost, like in terms of where we wanted to go, and we both loved fitness, and I found fitness like because I loved it, not ever because I thought of it as a job. I found fitness because it was something that I thoroughly enjoyed. It brought me fulfillment from being a really young age. It gave me purpose because I didn't really know what I was doing. My family situation was a bit skewed, and I wanted that something that was just for me, for nobody else, just for me, because I was constantly like going back and forth, same as probably I do a bit now, doing things for other people a lot of the time, and the gym is the one thing it's just for you. And that's kind of why I fell into it when I was so young. So in essence, we might call them the right reasons to go into this industry. Passion, yeah? Passion comes across massively. As much as you don't think it does, I think that you can tell passion for non-passionate.
Yeah.
And that's a really big factor in terms of if you're young, and that becomes with any industry. If you want to do hair, but your parents are telling you that it's not a good career, but you're really passionate about doing hair, do hair. Because I'm telling you now, you go and be a solicitor, but you're not passionate about it, you'll end up probably going bankrupt. You'll probably end up gambling at the weekend or something, or doing something that will bring you fulfillment because it's not your job. And that's why people kind of, you know, have that sort of skeptical thing that, you know, we live for the weekend. And what's the phrase where it's like, live to work or work to live?
Yeah, you just said it.
Yeah, is that the right phrase? Okay, well, if you're not enjoying, again, like kind of what I said, what you do, it will show and you will fail. So if you're young and you're thinking, I want to go to uni, but I'm not really that arsed, don't go. If you're thinking, I'd love to be a PT, like I absolutely love fitness, I love helping people, great, be a PT. It's probably the best job for you, even if you make no money. That fulfillment, you have to find the fulfillment through the job, not through the reward of the job. Because again, when I first started doing this job, the money was rubbish.
Horrendous.
Like
For the amount of hours that you work.
For the amount of hours. I spoke about this kind of in the last podcast that I did with Alex and Shauna about when you go into the fitness industry, entry level jobs in the fitness industry, the pay is
the leisure industry as a whole.
The pay is not good. But again, people are passionate about fitness.
Yeah.
Like there's people who have worked in fitness for 20 years, they're 50 years old. They love fitness. They'll keep doing that until they die. That is amazing. But there's also people that have worked in office jobs for 20 years and they hate every single day that they're there, but it's convenient and they kind of fell into it and they can't really understand why they got there, but they've never left. And by the time it gets to like 5-10 years, you're like, oh shit, what am I even passionate about? When you're young, that's when passion is high.
Yeah.
You know, you have hobbies, you have interests, you're really social, you meet loads of new people. Go with what you love to do. And you will never fail in anything. Like if you love fitness enough, the education, it's so easily accessible these days. Like you can get so many mentorships, so many people to help you. Obviously, like I help so many PTs that have been PTs probably longer than me actually, and they just don't really know how to market themselves right or that business side of things. But you know what? They're fucking great PTs because they've got passion, and literally that little tweak of education will thrive your business. So don't worry about how great your business is going to be or how successful it's going to be or what if I do this wrong. It's fine. Like I said, do what you love. I was PTing people for a $5 and I didn't care because I loved it. And I did so many mistakes. I've done so many things wrong and I probably embarrassed myself a lot of times. You know, I've worried about embarrassing myself. I've not posted things because I thought it's embarrassing, or I've posted things and deleted them because I thought it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
In fear of other people that I went to school with or other people around me thinking that I'm stupid or cringy or whatever. Like when I first made the fitness page, I was like, oh, it's so cringe. Like I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to put myself out there. And it's like that fear of putting yourself out there, doing something different. Yeah. It's a very public job. You're public. You're a content creator.
Yeah,
like we were saying before, you need to be. You need to be a personality that's at the forefront. Again, like you're on the forefront, speaking to people every single day,
hour after hour.
So if you hate speaking to people, guess what? PTing isn't for you. Online coaching might be, maybe if you can make that work, but PTing is not for you. You don't like speaking to people. You don't like being confident. You don't like putting yourself out there. Unfortunately, you either get with it or get a different job. Like
so as a coach, be passionate, ask for help, educate yourself. The results will come later as long as you're passionate. That is the forefront, 1,000,000%. Putting in the time and the energy. So
what about
energy? Like just someone coming into the gym. So someone's in the gym, never been to a gym before. What would your advice be? Apart from getting a coach, which I I'd probably say is the best thing you can do.
I mean, I didn't get a coach for like 2 years, I think, but I'm going to be real with you. That first 2 years, I regressed. I got worse. I got fatter because I didn't know. I went from eating pot noodles, which have about 100 calories in, to stir fry and avocado, and I thought that was healthy. And I just ended up putting loads of weight on, and I was like,
it's
the
more
gym
nutrient dense, but
the gym
more
is
calories.
broken. I'm broken. And essentially, you can summarize it in just do it. That will come with anything. Business, content, the gym, exercise, public speaking, like walking, running, anything. Just try.
Just start.
There might be one exercise that you can do in the gym. One. There might only be the treadmill for the first 3 weeks. But do you know what? People fall at the first hurdle of, I kind of said this on my Instagram actually the other day, they expect really big payoff and really big input. But the reality is, at first, you're not going to probably get the best payoff or the best result, because
when you first start, you get
progress
because, from doing anything, basically.
Of course, but people expect that, I have to have the right split, the right nutrition, the right guidance, the right, sleep, and the right supplements. And people will ask me, what's the best split, or what is your split? I think somebody asked me as well. I could tell you my split. I could tell you what I eat in every single day. But if you can't implement that into your life and what works well for you, that's pointless. Because there is no perfect split. All my clients do different splits. Do they all get, the result that they want? Yes. Because it works best for them. Their recipe is their recipe. My recipe is my recipe. Your recipe is your recipe. So like I say, if your recipe is walking 4 times a week, you might squat, you might do a few machines, and you might eat a bit healthier. You might eat less KFC, less McDonald's.
Yeah. So you'd say, just start, get involved.
Just start, get involved. Do anything. Again, reach out for help. I
think when it comes to getting a coach, you're basically avoiding every single mistake that coach has made up until that point. So all the pitfalls you fall into as someone new into the gym, you can avoid all those. So like I said to you the other day, you might get the same progress in 3 years. You might be able to get that in 12 months with the advice.
Yeah, of course.
Not even if a coach, just even if it's someone that that's into the gym, you might be able to avoid that.
There's fitness accounts upon fitness accounts. There's never a better time to get into fitness, because everybody's doing fitness. There's fitness Instagram, there's fitness TikTok. Be very wary when you're watching things, because again, their recipe might not be yours, and if you can't implement that to fit you, don't expect to follow a TikToker's day of eating and get where you want to be. Obviously, bear that in mind. But the saturation of fitness is so high, and you're almost never going to fail unless you just never try in the first place. Ask questions.
You get people asking you questions all the time. People messaging me, asking me about running.
Of course. People ask me questions so much. I put the Q&As on. Do you know what I mean? Be more upfront. And I think, again, people have that fear of rejection of I don't want to message her and she don't reply. But you'll never know unless you try. Reach out for help. I message other coaches more than you would even realise. And I will say to them, do you know what? I value you. I value what you do. I value what you put out there. I trust you from your social proof. I'm going to ask you for help.
Yeah. And I think,
I'm going to ask you for help.
Especially if you're younger and just starting the gym, big thing for me was, it was me and my mates. So we'd walk to the gym, we'd do about 1 million sets of bench, nothing else, at 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
And that's how I started in the gym.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the gym. It's just what we did. We walked to the gym. We went to the gym.
But if you actually think of that as a whole, he's walking.
Yeah.
He's doing something.
But without my mates, I probably wouldn't have started it. So if you want to get into the gym and you have mates who also need to get into the gym, get them to come with you.
Yeah, group classes, group PT.
100%.
Again, just a little group of you. If you don't have mates, again, reach out to people.
Yeah.
That's why having a coach is beneficial, because I kind of said it again in the last podcast. A gym friend. That's essentially all a coach is a friend to push you and support you in the gym
100%.
While giving you the expert, like you said. However many years they've got under their belt, that's valuable. And I think people see a coach as such a big expense, but in the reality is, time is valuable these days.
Time's your biggest asset, ultimately.
Time is your biggest asset, and if you can save 3 years, like Liam said, I wasted 2 years. If I would have got my PT, my first PT that I had when I was 17, 2 years before, I would have saved myself 2 years of getting nowhere, actually going backwards. I could have essentially had 2 years of going forward. Obviously, it is what it is now, but they're the mistakes that you miss out on. All those mistakes that I've made, like I said, I've fallen on my ass a million times. I've made mistakes. I've yo-yoed. I've done shit diets. I've done the wrong thing. I have listened to bad advice. I have done things wrong.
Yeah.
I've tried and tested thousands of different things on hundreds of different people, including myself. I've been through everything myself and put hundreds of people through the same thing that you're going through. That's
and
valuable.
Successful results. I think the mad thing about the health and fitness industry is people almost see it differently to, I don't know, say for example you was going to get a mortgage. Most people get a mortgage broker. You pay them £400-500.
So true.
They will say, this is the best mortgage for you. This is the best rate.
And you wouldn't question that.
Yeah, all you need to do, sign these papers. I'll take care of the rest. Whereas you could go and get a mortgage yourself, but the API would probably be miles higher.
Yeah.
You'd be paying more of the cost of mortgage.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I didn't have a clue. There was no question about that for me. That was a field that I knew I didn't know anything in. And again, I saved myself a lot of time investing into a mortgage broker. Again, not a paid ad, but Meet Margot is my mortgage broker. For anybody who's self-employed, they're really good. So just if you are looking to get a mortgage, they are actually really good and really helpful.
But it's the same for anything like a mortgage broker. Your car breaks down, you take it to some mechanic. You don't start trying to fix it yourself. So I don't get why it comes to health and fitness. People
we were talking about this analogy with plasterers the other day.
Yeah, you could plaster a wall yourself.
Yeah, you could definitely watch 100 YouTube videos that might take you about 5 hours, plaster the wall.
It'll take you 5 times as long as an actual plasterer.
And then it'll probably still look shit. And you'll probably still have to hire a plasterer to do it anyway. You probably have to take it all off, or it'll probably end up crumbling, and you'll have to take it all off and do it again anyway. Yeah. So you save all that error, time, that mistake of just don't do the fucking plaster in the first place. Like, you know what, you can give it a go if you want to go into hobby of plastering.
Yeah, of course.
But save yourself time and just hire the plasterer.
I'm trying to pick the best question just so we don't run out of time.
I know, so true. We've literally spoke. It's like
it's like a metaphor for our relationship. You talk loads, I'm a man of very few words, and I just poke you here and there.
Yeah. Do you know what though? When you get him on a topic that he wants to talk about or he knows a lot about, he will run with it. Mate, I'm telling you now, we must have had how long was that conversation about D-Day?
Oh, about a good hour. It was
good hour just on D-Day. He was going with it. He loves it. Anytime that he knows something that you might not know, he will fill your brain with it. Don't get me wrong, I think, again, we complement each other very well in the sense that, like I say, I will talk. I will just spiel thoughts and he'll collect my thoughts and help me process them in such a good way. And I think that's really important. It's kind of like no one is like outshining anybody else. It's just very like
neutral.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like we're not both trying to like chase to speak or chase to be what the other person's not. And I think that's really difficult because we're both in the same industry, that could be an issue in our relationship, but it's not. I
think this is an important one. Did you struggle getting into it? So the gym and PT, and I think a lot of people see you now slinging tin, smashing ergs, with a successful business, and think, oh, she must have always just had this business. The same way people see anyone who has a good physique and think, wow, they just look like that. That's what they look like.
Do you know, it's so funny that you say that because you know I'm the worst for this. Like, I really downplay who I am and like what I am, and I'm always like, oh well, you know, this could be better. And he's like, you are well within your right to tell people how to do things and how to be better because you are successful and stuff. And I think, again, like I said, success is different for everyone, and I think it's hard to kind of accept like people do see you as successful.
Yeah,
so that's a weird concept for me to process. But I did struggle. Again, we'll go back to college, being scared of what people would think. I had so many comments when I told people my plans to not go to uni and to go into the fitness industry. That's what I was thinking of doing. It was a very passive thought at that time. I still had a backup of kind of doing medicine at uni anyway, just the next year. But I kind of wanted to give myself that year to think and make sure that it was definitely what I wanted to do. And obviously, spoiler alert, it wasn't. But I was definitely nervous because a lot of people had their thing to say. You're really going to throw away a potential medical career for what? The gym? That's so embarrassing. And I think, again, that fear of embarrassment and that fear of, if this does fail, I have to then go back to my dad, go back to my mum and be like, do you know what? Like, I made a mistake and I shouldn't have done that. And I put myself out there for what? for what I literally embarrassed myself. And do you know what? The most embarrassing thing for me now, looking back, is not trying. Like, if somebody says to me, oh, I want to do that, but I'm scared of how I look like that to me is a foreign concept now.
Yeah.
I think, again, it just takes that leap of faith to trust that no matter what happens, like, you will do the work regardless of what the payoff is.
Yeah.
If I ended up having to leave the fitness industry and go and get another job, you know, I'd still be passionate about fitness. I'd still love fitness, and I'd still hold my head high and be like, do you know what? At least I tried. Yeah, it definitely comes down to a confidence issue, a self-esteem issue. My self-esteem is not perfect now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming that it is, because again, with what we said at the start with the imposter syndrome, but the more that you do something that you were once scared of doing, the more you're like, you know, I can do this. Like,
this isn't as bad
even
as
when I first started like CrossFit, like I was changing from like bodybuilding to like I went into running, and then I like went into CrossFit. And I remember, obviously, when you look at people who are good at CrossFit and think, oh my God, they're amazing, you almost feel again embarrassed to like post a clean or post a handstand, because you're like, oh my God, people who are actually good at this are going to watch this and be like, that's so embarrassing. And again, I think that comes back to who I was at 19. Was I scared of people who were 20, 21, 22, already PTs? I used to be scared of what other PTs that were already doing it and already successful, what they would think of my content.
Yeah, and what you're putting out there.
Yeah, like I would feel embarrassed for what people who've been doing it 2 years longer than me would think of what I was doing.
Yeah.
And like I put something about this on my story as well, about dreams kind of go to die in the planning phase. Thinking about what you want to do, constantly planning on what you're going to do and when you're going to start, and you know, is it the right time? And again, like I said before, just do. Like, just try. If you hate it, like, that's fine. Try something different. Like, try karate, try martial arts, try CrossFit, try running, and that doesn't have to stay the same. Like I say, I started off bodybuilding, and I thought I was like going to go to shows and everything, and then that quickly switched when I didn't have the gym and I had lockdown, and you know, I lost that element of bodybuilding, and I was running and I was doing body weight stuff, HIIT workouts. Obviously that's where my business started. Maybe that could be another episode.
You can always pivot. I think a lot of people have this idea that you have to have everything figured out by the time you're 25, 30.
Of course, it doesn't have to be a straight and narrow of like, I'm starting the gym, this is my split, this is what I'm doing. The recipe changes. You can be a runner one day and then think, actually, this is a bit shit now. I want to do something different. And I want to go in, like, when something comes up like High Rocks and everyone's buzzing about
running,
it.
Like you did, or run a lot, not run for ages and then get back into it.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Yeah, I've took a massive break from running, haven't run in ages, and I'm liking it again. I want to be good at running again, so I've decided to put it back in. I could pull it back out again next week if I wanted to. Is it really that deep? No. As long as I'm enjoying the movement that I'm doing, enjoying the work that I'm doing, again, getting the fulfillment from what I'm doing. If you look at the gym as a task and something that you dread, again, you're not in a position to probably start. You should want to be better for yourself, and no matter what that looks like, walking, running,
swimming, anything,
Pilates, yoga, swimming, like, find the movement that you get fulfillment from. Find the thing that you get fulfillment from. Find where you feel happy and content. For you, like, I'm sure you didn't like running at one point.
No, I never used to run. I was really fat as a kid, so I played in that.
Exactly, and I think
didn't run at all.
Yeah, like the question kind of says, people look at like Liam, like so many people that like will literally come up to me and be like, your boyfriend is so fast, and he's so fast, it's actually unbearable to watch. He's so fast. You are fast. You do a 10k in literally like 30 minutes. But anyway, people look at that and think, well, he must have just been born fast.
Yeah, I must have always run.
You must have just been born with that amount of muscle, born with that level of fitness.
Yeah.
And like Liam said, Liam was fat when he was younger. You know, I wasn't always in good shape. I wasn't always fit. I didn't always have big glutes, big quads, a big back, abs.
Didn't always have a PT business.
You know, I was the beginner. You were the beginner. We were them ones that come fresh out of college, not having a clue what we were fucking doing. I was the one that stepped into that gym and I had my induction and they showed me 3 exercises, and you best believe I did them 3 exercises every single day for like the next 2 years.
AMRAP for 2 years.
Just AMRAP for 2 years. Because everybody starts somewhere. And I know, again, it's cliche. Everyone starts somewhere. But everyone starts somewhere. You've got to start. If you don't start, you'll never start, and you'll just waste time. And like you said, time is precious. You've got this body for one life. You've got this one life. You know, it's too short to be like, I'll just start next year.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, if you want to start something, start. If you don't, that's fine. Sit on it for another 6 months and then regret it in 6 months' time.
Just wait until you're at a point where wanting to do it outweighs the effort of doing it.
Yeah, of course. You know, I always say to clients, sometimes you need that desperation to be like, I really want to do this. And again, if a client doesn't have that, that might be a time where you turn around and you're like, do you want this enough? Because if you do want it and you want to exercise,
and if you don't, that's
fine.
Issue,
yeah, you don't have to exercise. Like, I don't think people understand that everything in life is a choice, and you're almost blessed to be able to make those choices in life that you get to do and live your life how you please. And again, if that's working Monday to Friday and going getting pissed all weekend, that is cool. Do not feel like you're any less than anybody else in the fitness industry. But essentially, our job is to help people understand that if you want to be into fitness, it's achievable and you can get there. And don't look at people like us and think, I'll never be there, because we was the person on the other end at one point, and people forget that. People see it as this big, daunting thing. Yeah. When it's not.
No, definitely not. I think that's all we've got time for.
I know, yeah. Literally, again, like Liam said, I think I just talk way too much. But I think, it's nice for Liam to kind of, again, he's helped me so much in my business and helped me kind of put myself out there again and put myself forward in terms of like what I know and what I've done and achieved is valuable to people.
Yeah, of course it is.
Whether you're in business in the fitness industry or not, and I think having you here is a good way to bring that across, because you see every day behind the scenes.
Yeah, of course.
Like, obviously my clients understand it, but you see it. You see every hour, every minute, every thought, every feeling that I have with the business, and you understand that it obviously means a lot to me and stuff. So.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully if people enjoy it, we can make this kind of a regular thing. Like I said, this has been a newest episode of what we're calling TMF Insider. So hopefully we will catch you in the next episode if there is one. Thanks. Bye.